Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Eastern Essex District Veterans Board of Directors for Wednesday, April 19th. First on the agenda is to look at the meeting, and first is query, any citizen query tonight. I see none in the audience. So with that, go on to the minutes. Has everyone read the minutes? Any discussion on the minutes? If not, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I motion to accept the minutes.
Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor, roll call vote. I, Robert Stone.
I, Dana Packer.
I like one.
I don't know.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. Okay. Third on the agenda is the administrative job description. Okay, has everyone read the description? Okay, I'll open it up to,
Thank you.
comments from members. So with that. Or when, who was it? You were involved.
Yes.
Why don't you do an introduction to it and just.
Well, I want to thank both of you
Yeah.
folks for doing this. This was a good thing to do, so thank you.
So just give us a little bit of background on putting it together.
Okay, so what we did was we looked at what a lot of the other those throughout the state have been doing and trying to really focus in on what were the major things that Karen needed the assistant to actually really do that was very prevalent, which really turned out to be the chapter 115 portion. That's why a majority of it is focused heavily on the 115, and then there was additional other tasks that were essential to the job to assist in the operation of the office here. So this really aligns with, again, throughout the state. So it really hits the key points of the chapter 115 portion of it. And again, this really gets at what is needed to actually do the duties and functions of this office here. Allows Karen to do all her duties and functions. And I would tell you that when I'm in here working with her, that phone does not stop ringing. So I thought I'd throw it out there. I don't know how she's answering phones and typing, and I don't know how she does it. I just don't. But anyway, that was just a side point of it. Again, I don't want to hit the dollar portion of it, but what I would tell you, we did put the rate on there we had, and the lowest rate anywhere in Massachusetts started at $28 an hour. And again, even less tasks and functions, and a lot of it was totally focused on the chapter 115 because there's so much involved with that portion of the position itself. So a lot of the towns for their VSOs, they focus that person on really just doing that. That's a huge part of the job here, but then again, in order to get things done here to help Karen and get the office really working the way that it was, we also added additional tasks and functions that person would be doing. So I think this aligns very, very well. Then I got input from a friend who's very high up in the VA and what they have across his jurisdiction. He has several states underneath him, and he took a look at it too and said, yeah, it aligns very well in what you're trying to do.
Was the job title across the state similar to veteran services?
Yes, yeah, that one there was very, very common. That's what it was. So we try to keep commonalities and again, try to line up what other cities and towns were doing. And again, this was the only one that encompassed a district. All of them were individual cities or towns with not even close to the numbers in which this district has. So it was. I'm sorry.
Did you guys look at Gloucester?
No, I did not look at.
They have like 5 towns because the VSO just left.
No,
There's like 5 communities, I think.
BSO over there's left.
Yeah, he's going to Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's retiring?
No, did not look at Gloucester.
Yeah, because that was kind of, it's a district.
Yeah,
Like, what do they have? Hamilton, Wenham,
Gloucester.
Gloucester, Manchester by the
Manchester
Sea.
by the sea.
Yeah.
I believe.
So Gloucester has a full-time, BSO. And also, they call her, she's a full-time person. I think they also have an admin. But they have at least 2 full-time people working.
But what would the, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, one of them handles the benefits for chapter 115. That's the big.
So I just wonder what that district, what the total population in that district is. 'Cause Gloucester, I would think, is bigger than Ipswich, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ipswich would be like a Gloucester.
Yeah, Gloucester, I think is like 30.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, when you're comparing, we need to compare similar sizes when you're talking about how many FTEs they have in their office. Right, so they have 2 plus the part-time admin, or is it she full-time, he or she full-time? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
again, I don't know what the veteran footprint is though in Gloucester either, or, you know, I tried looking at Manchester by the sea and moved to, I don't think there's. Or, you know, those areas there, again, I don't know what their veteran population is there, I really don't.
We
Take the
don't
population.
know what Hamilton's.
Yeah. They used to be part of you and they moved over to that one.
Yeah.
And I think Manchester, I've seen, had an independent for years.
Yeah.
The gentleman that did it beautifully,
Yeah,
and
and
he knew everyone.
I just looked up the population of Gloucester, it's just shy by 48 people of 30,000.
Yes, about right.
So that's a huge area.
That's a very big area.
What's
And then,
Ipswich?
we're about
14.
14.
Exactly.
and so with the district, we're at 43,000.
$43,000.
Yes.
Okay.
I brought that up for comparison, so, you know, the full-time BSO plus the full-time assistant plus the admins, so we're far under that.
Okay. Any other thoughts on the job description?
So the total population for the district is 43,600.
For this.
43, yeah, 43,600.
So it's kind of. It's like a side cover.
And Karen, what's your estimate of the veteran population of the 43,000?
1,833.
Okay. So. One out.
Do that.
It's easier. So 1 out of 1 out of 8. That's still, I just find it interesting because it is a dwindling population from what it was in the 50s,
Oh, yeah.
60s, and it's. Well, listen, I thought the description was well written. I thought it was well fleshed out. You know, I would ask the team here, does it accurately represent the focus of what needs to be executed, what needs to be done? But I thought it was a well-written description. You know, is it appropriately tuned to what has to happen in this office, in this district?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So you said 1,800?
Yes.
1,800.
So that's about, that's 4%.
4%.
The biggest thing is the
if I can say, is the 6 towns, we have 6 different deadlines, 6
Well, no,
different.
you're exactly right.
So like,
Because-
I just don't, so when I do the chapter 115
Right.
to submit the warrants, I'm doing.
No, exactly,
Different dates,
exactly.
so it's like
No, you're exactly right. That's why when looked at the other ones, they're just dealing with one deadline, one person.
One treasurer.
One treasurer, one of one, yeah. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Those deadlines all the same week,
No.
No,
So,
they're all in the place.
yeah,
so each week you might be doing a different town. So it's not like Monday morning you come in, you do all 6 towns.
No, I can give you an example. I did 2 yesterday when I was here, and I'm gonna be doing a different town next week, and
So,
Because some towns do.
how does the board feel about the job description and the job? And where we are to just see?
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
It says on page 2. One, two, the third paragraph, it says in the absence of the director.
Yeah.
The applicant must act in the following. And it sounds like we're saying that the position, the person that fits that position is filling in for the VSO and acting in the VSO capacity.
Those were my notes too on that section. I guess what I'm wondering, are we considering changing this position? We hired an administrative assistant when back a year or 2 years ago, right? And now we're contemplating what position are we creating?
yeah.
And along with that, I don't recall seeing her resume when she was hired, sorry, I don't know. Karen. So with the resume, if we're creating an assistant VSO position, which it kind of sounds like we are, is Karen qualified for that position based on her experience and.
Well, the title of this person is going to be Veteran Services Assistant.
But it sounds, it's a matter of semantics, so is it a veteran services officer, assistant veteran services officer, or is it more of an?
Well, I'm looking at the title, it's Veteran Services Assistant. It doesn't say anything about officer.
Is the other side of that question, Karen, if, you need to go to, for your month-long vacation in Hawaii someday, what are the training and the roles that, need to come up, that would need to be transferred? Is there, to pull your shoes and do the execution? What are the trainings and maybe that's the next step, maybe that's a little bit of the cart in front of the horse, but what are there other areas of training that would need to be filled to truly be, VSO in backup?
Well, she can never be a VSO because she's not a veteran. And if it was a situation, and just like when I go on vacation, Karen continues doing her responsibilities with chapter 115
Right.
and all that. And what I do is, and she has contacts and does networking and has contact with other VSOs in the area. So she would tap them if it was a situation where somebody needed more involved, claims assistance or something like that. So, so that's,
I understand the veterans part, but there's nothing that, there's no piece of paperwork that she could do, or no execution. If she had the experience filling out this, there's no training or a piece of paper or document that she couldn't help fulfill if she had the experience and the ability, the training to do so. I'm asking for my information.
no. So in regards to like VA claims, she knows, so if somebody comes in and, and I'm not here and somebody wants to do a VA claim, what she does is she has them fill out the intent to file, which is the first piece, and you fill out the intent to file, send that to the VA, which gives you, it's like a placeholder.
Right.
It gives you 1 year to get the claim in. So she does that, she gets the date locked in. We have up to a year to figure it out. I come back from vacation and everything, I do the claim with the person. Person doesn't lose.
Canned,
Huh?
canned.
Yeah.
Very sad.
And so, and then I do the claim and they don't lose out on any compensation.
I think if I can say, what I do is, she's not here, I'm here more to have a person answer the call, and if I don't know the answer, I have resources that I can call.
And again,
Is there a gap here that we need to have some execution and some training things on, to fully, flesh out this?
So I was kind of following up on Doug's question on that particular thing, because these are things, to liaise between veterans or veterans organizations and elected officials in the towns. Occasionally, evening we get, well, that part I can see, but and then speaking to meetings of veterans organizations, social organizations, that's really the VSO.
Right.
And so that's why I'm trying to get a handle on what position are we trying to create here. Is it?
well, I think that's to speak to meetings of veterans and veterans organizations. In what capacity, not as, she's not a veteran, so she can't be a VSO or assistant VSO. So I think, yeah, I understand what you're coming.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just, Doug pulled that one out, and that's,
Coming from.
But
there's probably other.
there's a difference though, hey, we're here,
Yep.
let's say there were two massive, gatherings of veterans. There's a difference between, message between, a full message, a full presentation. But hey, we're here in this office, here's our contact information, I'm leaving it.
Right.
There's different levels that can be
Okay.
transmitted.
I
when
just
you
wanted
speak
to
veterans.
be clear what we're.
Yeah,
You know.
here's the example that I would give you. When we had our town hall meeting with Angus, Karen and I were both going to it, and something happened where it was just myself going. Had she been available and was able to come with me, she would have accompanied with me and spoke to the board just on Karen's behalf, the questions they had for Karen that I can't answer for Karen because I don't want the office. She would have been able to do it, but it was just a last second thing. And then I just said, Karen, don't worry about, I'll take care of it myself. I'll be there by myself. I need you to come. I'm here. I did it and it worked out. But again, it was,
Yeah,
and
she's
that's
not
what it
going
was.
to make policy or anything like
No.
that. All, she would just be there to answer questions. So I'll take this information back to Karen Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes.
And that ain't,
If she could answer it, she would if it was within her scope. And if it wasn't, we'd say.
and I think it begins with the bullet points here. It's not bullet points, but a liaison between veterans or veterans organizations and elected town officials. Bruce Tar calls and Tar, Representative Cassidy calls, you're a liaison. It's the same occasional evenings, weekends, work. That's.
Yeah, that goes.
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
speak to meetings of veterans organizations. And that could be working.
Check.
Chapter 150 on
There's a lot in there. Yes.
And then, again, it's a liaison. It is not an official duty
Yeah.
as a BSO.
No,
Correct.
that's all I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
What we're, what are we
Right.
making this into, because it wasn't what the original position was.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else from the table?
I would maybe just one, but I'm Karen, I'm not talking like you're not here, okay, even though I might sound that way. I'm not, okay, but, the application form and the application procedure. Now, Karen, are you gonna have to go through this, or is that one just for someone in the future? Have you already been vetted and will this, once this description gets approved, it's like you have the job, is that correct? Am I
That's
correct in saying
That's
that?
a good point.
I'm just wondering,
If it's a new position, if I understand your.
Well, actually, the title is not a new position. I think Karen's in,
Yeah.
she's the Veterans Service.
No, she's a
Oh, so this isn't.
Yeah, it's taking the current position here and tuning it to what is in the needs.
Oh, well, I'm gonna go back to my question, whether are we, to be legal, do we have to put this out like 2 weeks' notice in the newspaper to say that this position is available to?
We're changing this position. That Karen now has.
Right. So do we have to do
You
that?
have,
Or we gonna-
what's the procedure for a new position in the town of Ipswich?
This is upgrading. We're looking at this position to upgrade it to where it should be within the organization. Okay, we've looked at other organizations of veterans districts. As we looked at them, we're not, for the number of people we have, we should have a different job title for instead of administrative assistant, because there's much more to this job because of the number of people in the district.
In the growing number of programs that we are servicing.
Yes.
I think if I might, the purpose of all this is to make sure that we have the information that's needed to properly staff this office, and who's gonna do it. Right now, Karen is an administrative assistant, that's what she's hired as.
Yeah.
Not as an assistant too. But
This is not a system too.
So it seems to me that when I read it, and then I get to the back page, because I had the same question. Oh, does this mean that now, because we need to look, let's say internally, we have to post that position?
Exactly. I don't want someone to come forward and go, well, this was never posted. How did you just create this job?
Do we have an HR group here in the town hall that could give us guidance?
All that, or did you by any chance talk to Tim Session?
I guess Karen, what what was your intention? Like, what was your intention that she's it, this is it, and we just rewrote her job description? Was that the intention?
I think that's how we left the last meeting.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
well, that's what I thought too.
So everything here is everything that she's currently doing right now. I think if we're worrying about we're trying to also write this in the future if
Right.
you
So
need it.
that-
If she says, you know what? I don't really want to.
So
do
this portion here is going to apply for your replacement.
Yeah, I guess the technicalities, you are correct.
Okay, that was one of my questions.
Yes, sir.
And then I had one more question on the same page, and that was entitled to part-time benefits. I forget, but the 19 hours versus the 24 hours, are you moving into a 24-hour position?
Yes,
That's what we-
Isn't that full-time benefits?
Yes.
yes.
Well, why does it say only entitled to part-time benefits?
This should just say
Benefits, yeah. Okay.
benefits.
I think that we're handcuffing Karen if she's gonna be working 24 hours, that she's only entitled to part.
But maybe just say benefits eligible.
Yeah, I think that's probably appropriate, yes.
That answers all my questions.
Because she might not take them, she might,
Well, that, because this page threw me off.
yeah, that's, because some of that was what other towns and cities had, and we're trying to make sure that we didn't leave anything out, as the guidance that was given was make sure that after she's gone, that there's a document still standing, so.
So are we gonna have to do a rewrite before we vote on it? Are we gonna vote on this? We're gonna do a rewrite.
We had to discuss this
Oh,
tonight.
okay. I got you.
Okay.
If I might,
And this
Chair.
is, I think, at our last meeting, did we determine that this will not take effect until July 1st?
July 1st. So we still have another meeting next month to go through.
Yeah.
Okay, and then get some guidance from Tim, okay, about,
Yeah, because we just want to make sure that we're legal.
just make sure we're doing it the right proper way. That's all.
This is, but now I do, and I just bring up history. It was 8 years ago that I first came to the board, and I believe we're in the process of hiring. Well, Karen had just got hired before I came on, and then we're hiring Kathy Collins, I think, was it?
Yeah, Kathy.
Right?
Tracy.
Yeah.
Tracy, that-
Oh, it was first Tracy. Tracy was acting as.
Oh, Tracy,
and
yes, yes.
admin assistant, and then we were hiring Kathy. And the same thing happened that's happening now with Kathy, because Karen had wanted, we hired her as an admin assistant, and Karen requested that we upgrade her to assistant VSO. And we had to go through all kinds of processes.
Right.
We didn't do that, but I'm just saying, I just want to make sure that we get this stuff the way we want the office staff, that we get it done, so we don't have to go through this procedure again.
And again, the title is going to be Veteran Services Assistant.
Mhm.
Again, she will not be a Veteran Service Officer, even a Veteran Service Officer Assistant, because you're not a veteran.
Right.
In order to have that position, you have to be a
The
veteran.
only real services that would be provided, that you would be responsible for, would be 115, right?
Correct. And I think that you saw, it's like anything else, as we move through our military careers and you get into commands, you take a while before you really understand an organization, how it works and how it runs. And I think when you first get into a job, you see it as one way, but as time goes on and you really see how it functions, especially with this many towns and how everything goes, you get a better perspective on what is really needed for this office. And I'm sure that's exactly why you came around to this here now, because now we truly understand what do we really need to get this done.
All right, I think we kicked this around enough tonight. And we, a few things we want to just strike from this.
Well, we want to make sure on the back page, it says benefits eligible.
Yes.
Yeah, okay?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, can I just make one suggestion under work environment? Can we get rid of regular unscheduled interruptions and when you say frequent interruptions?
Sure.
Oh. That was really bad. Yeah, change it to frequent.
Yeah, remove regular and unscheduled.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if any scheduled interruptions.
If we've got regular unscheduled interruptions, we got.
Yeah.
Andy, it's your turn to be interrupted.
What on the language needs to be changed?
So I have something on the very back, under application form. It should probably say the Eastern Essex District Department, blah, 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 and take out the words towns of.
Oh, yeah.
And then, is an equal opportunity employer that, remove the word who. But that embraces expert.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, I just don't know if do we need to have, I don't know. I mean, we all understand that paragraph on page 2. Now we understand, but do we need to make it clearer that it's not, they're not acting in a VSO capacity? Or, well, it's just confusing.
Well,
I don't know how to reword it. I don't know if it's necessary, but it's just confusing when you read it. We all know.
The
Well,
first thing I would
we-
take out of that is the word must and just put may, because it's very small change, but.
Under absence, under in
Okay.
the director.
Oh, may act.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah,
anything else?
What was it? Linda, what was the first one you had? I got the one, that one. I think I'm having the
Take
back.
out under application forms.
Yeah.
Form, remove the word towns of in the first sentence, so it would just say the Eastern
Oh.
Essex.
Okay.
I'm not. I understand this, like you said, I totally understand it. Is there some kind of like state law code / requirement that we could just quote that here instead of writing our own new verbiage and say the application, form will will be in, compliance with blah, 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 blah. I'm just wondering.
Is it from Ipswich? Is that?
I don't know.
It was from multiple, a lot of them said exactly almost the same thing, and when the reader said the town of, because I initially typed the towns of, and I put them all out. And then, and then as Karen and I reviewed, she said, no, we gotta make sure, and I said, oh yeah, let's do be more specific. So that's what, but this other verbiage was very consistent, almost verbatim in multiple towns.
Okay.
That's all, but I know exactly what you're saying, is there something the state of Massachusetts
I was
requires?
gonna say, you're gonna have Tim's also look at it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, that's probably a great idea to do something like that. Have the-
I mean, you could just say in compliance with, like, our hiring practices are in compliance with blah, 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 blah.
Legalese, the template.
Yeah,
Put in here, I would just take out the title of that paragraph.
Yeah.
Form, because that doesn't really lend itself to anything in here, just. That would be, the last paragraph.
But I mean, heaven forbid if you left someone out.
So where it says. I had a little something beside that one, where it says attend Department of Veteran Services training session. Does that mean every training session or just those that are
Wait, where are you?
directly related to that
Are you on page one?
responsibility?
I've essentially functions.
Page 2.
So it would definitely be, so it would be things that would be pertinent to her. Like, for instance, I went to a training at the Bedford VA. That didn't have anything to do with chapter 115. It's also not, something that she would be doing. So she stayed here and I went to the training.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
asking.
There you go.
Anything else?
How about if we add to that,
So we could say appropriate.
I was gonna say as required.
I think quiet.
You're a better wordsmith than I am.
If we were directly into a town, we would have a personnel committee. So we kind of we're doing the personnel committee here. Job, so.
The second to the last one, where it says update website to keep the public up to date, but I would just say update website with upcoming events and meetings.
Anything else?
And just, I want to make sure that, the way my mind thinks is it's the VSO's responsibility to be seeking out veterans and veteran families. Is it, I suppose it could be part of the position for veteran services, veterans service office. Excuse me, veteran service assistant. But I don't know that Karen should be out actively seeking veterans and.
If anything, she's a liaison. So she would be bringing information back to Karen,
Right.
but she is not seeking out. She would be carrying information back to Karen.
Like we all do, we
Yeah.
pass it on. Karen's a wonderful resource.
Well, this here says actively seek
Yeah.
out veterans.
Yeah.
May I finish? Actively seek out veterans or their dependents in need or unaware of available benefits. That would come up with people that come into the office that may be unaware, or maybe someone that Karen Tyler refers to Karen. To reach out to them and blah, blah, blah. But I don't think that that's a primary responsibility for the veterans service.
That might, it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that's more of a VSO function, and if she wants to delegate that to the veterans benefits. To Karen, then that's something that the VSO would delegate, but
Right, I don't think it should be a requirement.
If I may, assist veterans and their dependents in need or unaware of available benefits.
So I just
Oh,
want,
do you mean get rid of actively seek out?
Assist veterans and their dependents in need or unaware of available benefits.
That makes more sense.
In other words, someone calls, they want to know, how can I help you? and she assists in that service instead of instead of actively seeking out, but.
And again, if you look in the beginning of the definition, under the direction of the veteran service officer.
Can I give an example? Okay, so, I was gonna mention this during my report, but an example of this is, so, there's a benefit called Mass Health Buy-in, which Karen found out about. And so Mass Health Buy-in is basically what it does, one of the things that it does is for low income people. Doesn't have to be a veteran or surviving spouse. Just if you're low income and you receive Medicare and you qualify for this benefit, Mass Health will pay for your Medicare. So when Karen found this out, she went through the Chapter 115 clients and she found 7 people that qualified for this Mass Health buy-in. So she is assisting them. So she actively found out, she went through her, she went through OnBase and everything to find out who qualified for it, contacted them, they're coming in, she's helping them with the application. Now the towns for each of those people, it's
$164.90. The number you remember.
and so that's taking that off, from the town and putting it on the state. In addition, I mean, I think $164 or whatever is good, but also to keep in mind that when people get on this Chapter 115 benefit and they're on Social Security, they're gonna be on this Chapter 115 benefit basically for the rest of their lives. So, you know what I mean? And so it ends up even being more than just this 164, a month. And so those are some of the things that Karen does. And she, and I love how she's proactive and told me about it. And, she came to me afterwards and she's like, I found these people that qualified for it. So she.
You guys help them with the application, or refer them to Shine sometimes.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So these people that you found were people that were already known.
Yes, they're in Chapter 115.
That's different than actively seeking from wherever.
Okay, anything else? If not, I'd entertain a motion to send this off to Mr. Zesser and to just look over the job title, and you are concerned about how we're putting this out. This would be, and again, this is to upgrade the position because we really never, it was an administrative assistant, but now we're changing the job title, and just to make sure that Karen can slip into this job. Okay, well,
Right. We just need to cover ourselves.
yeah, to cover it, that's all. So with that, do I have a motion?
So just one thing, so the 2 questions for Tim Zessen would be that this meets any requirements of the way it's written, but also to your point about, is it
Do we have,
a new job that needs to be posted?
that's right, exactly. So with that, do I have a motion? Hold it, go ahead, Mike.
I don't want to open up a can of worms.
You did, that's okay.
I just, are you okay with having this vetted in that way? Do you think that's a good idea?
Oh, absolutely.
Both of you? Oh, okay. Good.
Well, you brought it up, it's here in the whole meeting, you brought it up, it needs, and I think you're right, it needs to be addressed. There's nothing wrong with it.
For example, when my position as treasurer collector went from elected to appointed, they did have to post the job. I had to apply for the job. However, when the job was posted, it said strong internal candidate.
Right.
Yes.
So if and we didn't have to do that, that would be a suggestion.
Yeah, that's what we did with the original input for looking for a new chief and that.
Yeah.
Strong internal candidate.
Okay, so. Again. I'm gonna- Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? I have a second. With a roll call vote.
Motion.
What am I voting?
Michael.
To do what you said, yeah. Yes, yeah, yes.
Yes.
I've lost control. Yes, well, we have
There's the
motion, there's the
okay.
second, and I was going to say, well,
The motion is to send this to consensus. Is that right?
yes,
Okay.
and for him to look over the job description, and then also about the posting and about strong internal candidate.
Well, whether it needs to be.
Whether it needs to be.
Right,
That
whether
would
it needs to be
put in there.
posted.
Okay, so again, I got a motion, I got a second.
Second. I vote yes. I vote yes. Dan Packer votes yes.
Okay,
Ron Ross, yes.
And to Alex, yes.
Mike Flynn, yes.
And Doug goes,
I wrote so, yes.
You did it,
Okay, it's unanimous. So that will be on the agenda. Again, when we have the next meeting going into next month, okay? And hopefully by then we'll get a decision from Tim. He's pretty good about bringing that back. So.
and just to beat the horse one more time, I just want to make sure that we get this, the staffing in the office and the district correct. So that we don't have to go through this exercise again.
Yes. I agree. So the director's review is not ready. That'll be go down. So that going to next month. Chairman's report, I'm just going to go over what I do in the notes. And oh, here it is. Okay, just this is something that's going on in Raleigh from Memorial Day. We are going to have a parade on Monday, the 10th. We're going to line up at the Pine Grove School. It's going to be at 10:30. The parade will begin at 11 o'clock. We're asking veterans who wish to participate to come to the parade. We also going to have the state.
Sorry, did you say May 10th? May 10th, you said?
No, I'm sorry, May 29th.
Oh.
Yeah.
We did say.
Yeah.
Memorial.
I'm saying, I'm just supporting on May 10th.
We can all be there.
Yeah.
That's work, I'll be there.
May 29th, and they've been working, Bob Breaker, who is the chairman of the Raleigh Council, he's been working diligently with this. And they're gonna have hot dogs, they're gonna have water, I don't know, some other things on the common. And they're gonna have the state police, bagpipe and drum. We were able to get that, and there was something else they tried to get a band, but the Triton band they couldn't get because, and they couldn't, I think they even tried to get the Ipswich, but Triton band, they're all sophomores or freshmen. So the band is not up to what it used to be. I mean, all the seniors, they all graduated. So, but, you know, we're trying to get out of COVID. We're trying to get, you know, this going and get people involved in the town again to, you know, for Memorial Day. So, I don't know what the other towns you're going to have.
Yeah, so Ipswich is not having a parade this year, but we are once again gonna have a assembly at the War Memorial on South Main Street, so.
Yeah, that's a nice little ceremony they put
Yeah,
together.
it's usually pretty well attended.
So Raleigh Community Media is going to have a camera there and words from. We'll have it at the Pine Grove School, come down Main Street, come to the cemetery, and probably have a ceremony at the, hasn't all of it, at the Star Garden. I don't know if you've seen Little Garden. Karen, you know where it is.
Right, they're gonna do it at the common.
Okay. So,
Georgetown intends on having an early morning ceremony at each of the cemeteries, beginning at 7:45. And then our intention is to have a commemorative march beginning at 10 from the high school. We haven't had one since the whole COVID thing began. And a lot of the folks in the community are complaining that we haven't had them. So, what the issue is, we have aging veterans that might have a hard time walking that far and standing for, a couple and a half hours. So, I do seek veterans in the community, step forward, be part of Memorial Day.
I think it's very important that we get out and beat the drum and get the young people involved. Things have changed. And, we've had 20 years of war here, and but we need to get the public to come in and be part of this. In the past, we had about 300 people show up. And it's really, all the people I've seen in the past that showed, and what we've done is the last couple of years with COVID, showed up and raised the flag on, Memorial Day. And that's been it. And then everybody went home, and we had taps. But we really need to get the public back involved and understand the challenges ahead of us.
Essex is having a ceremony at our new veterans, newly refurbished Veterans Park. We're gonna have the band, we're gonna have some speaking, and it's gonna be a nice ceremony. We are moving back to the parade, but not this year.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it's gonna take probably another year for this to get forward. Do you know?
What
each
do
of
you
your
think?
towns, do you
Yeah,
have
we're gonna
that?
have a parade. We're gonna have a parade. It almost sounds like, that sounds almost just like ours. It starts at 10:30, goes right to our little battle site near the library. There's a place where we're supposed to go and practice.
Oh, and old Nancy's gonna show up.
Yes.
You mean the fake one?
They have this cannon over there. It's not old Nancy.
Okay.
So, so old Nancy's gonna show up, and if you know the history of old Nancy, it's a British gun that dragged out of I think it was the Chelsea Creek off of a ship. And then the Marblehead boys got a hold of it, and somehow it got to Raleigh.
Wow, amazing.
And Georgetown believes they have the original. But
You have these squabbles between towns. There's like Marblehead and Beverly.
yeah,
For years saying they're both the birthplace of the American Navy.
yeah. So it's guarded in a secure place. I can't say anymore. It's our strategic weapon and Raleigh. So anyways, it will show up at the parade, and it's we have a cannon here. We lost passed away, but then we used to fire it, and I was there for the last time we fired it on the common. Can't do it anymore because the way the laws are written, it not enough number of feet from dwellings, even though it's a fake charge, but that's the way it is.
Newbury is also gonna have a ceremony. I think ours kicks off at 10. We do a parade. I don't know if anybody's ever been to it's in downtown Byfield is where the thing kind of begins. And it's quite interesting because we have a resident that has quite a collection of World War II vehicles, and they all line up, and everybody that's got a car that's like more than 40 years old brings it and hangs flags on it, and we just kind of do a big round robin around Byfield. We have a little memorial site that we all wind up at, and we are gonna have some guest speakers. I am not gonna, I've heard some rumors on who they may be. I'm not gonna post it right now because right now it's not totally been decided upon. But I'm sure on the Newbury website, you will probably find more information about ours, but it's kind of interesting because all of us, we all sit here, and we probably never been to each other's Memorial Day services, but.
No, I came up to yours.
Did you?
Karen, a couple of years ago, we went up to, we went into that hall up there in Byfield.
Oh, the community
Is
center?
that
Yeah.
that's from the post office?
Yeah, it's yellow.
And
Anyway,
the guy who has
Burning fields.
He has the.
He has a maple, that's the
I
guy.
don't wanna go in his backyard and start
The Marine.
jumping on those trucks, I don't want that.
They've driven over that fleet is going all the way across the country.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love what he has.
We went up for Veterans Day, I was
Yeah.
mistaken, and there was a
Oh.
couple of Marines that sang the Marine Corps hymn, and it was very good. I remember.
And, oh, by the way, the 215th Army Band will be in Georgetown on July 2nd.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
And I think because Karen came to our last American Legion meeting.
Yeah.
Did I happen to mention that we pretty much decided that maybe that would be the appropriate time to do a Purple Heart ceremony?
Right, that you were gonna announce the.
Yeah, I just need to get the template for the,
Right, yep, so
Now-
I have a template with that.
Do your towns have veterans councils? We have a veterans council in Raleigh. Do you have one in Essex?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
The crew.
You don't have one?
Do you mean like a town committee or?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
reports to the, this one reports to the Board of Selectmen. And Bob Breaker, who is, Bob is great, he really is a good guy. And he does an awful lot in the town for veterans.
Mhm.
And Bob is, what do you call him? Chief of the boat. That's what he
Chief
does.
I'm
That's,
sure he'll love that you said that.
well, I always, every time he goes to a meeting, I call, because he used to be chief of the boat. So, if you're in the Navy, you know that the chief of the boat runs the boat. Okay, everybody,
That's
So
where,
first-
that's where the captain goes to ask the question.
yeah, he asked the
Why
question, he
this-
goes, yeah, can we do this?
Is this the right way to do this? What do you think, Cal?
So, he used to be chief of the boat, and, he's very good at organizing and everything else, I can't say enough about him. He's even out almost every morning raising the flag.
You know who used to be like that in Georgetown? It's remember Jerry Reeves?
oh, yeah.
He was the chief of the boat. It's
I
somebody.
never even believed.
And he knew it. He knew, he had a story for everything.
So if you ever think about the tree, it's a great idea to have
That's right.
a council to do this within your town, and, you know, you call Bob Breaker, I know Bob Breaker, help if you have any thoughts. And what he did was he incorporated, the representative from the Board of Selectmen. He got a number of vets in town to about 10 wreaths across America. He's been doing that. It's a nice little way to get the town involved in an outreach to get people into, to take part in veterans affairs. And it's, and we had, how many people do we have, Karen, that showed up for wreaths across America?
Oh, I'm so bad at judging, but I mean, it was so many that it didn't take long to
No,
place them all. And the woman who's in charge of that is phenomenal. I mean, she got over 100% like the first time,
yeah.
so they did a good job.
And that's part of it, and I just can't say, if you want. To kick that off within your town is a really great idea, and again, I can't believe how all the people, like, we're gonna have the drum and the state police drum and bagpipe band, and that one of our veterans is the former lieutenant colonel of the state police. So he was able to do that, and so, you know, and they were trying to get a flyover from the state police air wing. So, yeah, it's a, if you can do it, you talk to a number of veterans and try to put council together. I think it's a great idea. So that's all I have to say. Chairman's report. Karen?
Me and a couple other VSOs and other VSOs met with Congressman Bolton about 2 weeks ago. I felt so bad for him because he literally was coming straight from Logan because he was coming back from Washington. And so by the time he got there, I was like, you could have rescheduled it. But anyways, you know, and so he wanted to hear from us, like, what's going on, who's on the ground, and so we were talking about the PACT Act and how that was affecting, you know, our offices and what people are hearing, what people are saying, that type of thing. So we discussed that a lot, and, I also brought up to him, regarding aid in attendance, which is something that, anytime I get the opportunity to talk with someone, especially, you know, at a federal level. I talk about aid in attendance, which is a VA benefit for, there's 3 parts to it. You have to be a wartime veteran. You have to have the physical, the health needs. That means you need the assistance with daily living activities. And you also have to have the financial. And the way that this benefit is set up, is completely backwards and very difficult to do claims for the veterans. And it's just also frustrating because at that point where they do qualify, they're at the end of life. And so for us to be doing this, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but one of the things is that you're applying for the benefit because you have the financial need, but the requirement is that you show that you've been paying for these medical expenses for the past year. Well, you haven't been paying for the medical expenses because you need the money. And so that's just backwards. I mean, if you're somebody who has a diagnosis and you're 90 years old, your prognosis is you're not getting better. So it shouldn't be that, you know, it should be moving forward because they didn't have money to pay for the home care, to pay for, you know, the nurses come in, all of that. So that's something that I have a big problem with. And the amount of paperwork that is required, and I deal with families, and it's absolutely heartbreaking because most of the time you're dealing with the families, not with the veterans. And there's like 19 different documents that are required. You have to get their financial statements, their receipts, the, you know, medical expenses, all that. And so a lot of times the VA, you submit the claim and then the VA will ask for one more thing to be signed, another thing. And so, I've worked with families that have been in tears because they're like, every time I go to see my loved one, I have something else for them to sign. And every time they see me, they're like, what is it now? You know, and it gets them very anxious. And so, so that's, you know, so that's my big drive, and I talk about it whenever I can, because it's just not right. I don't feel like it's right. And I've talked with the liaison, talked with Molten about it. The other thing too is that they're no longer expediting claims from what I heard, which before, if you were over 85, I think, that you could ask for them to be expedited. And so now, you know, you have somebody who's in their 90s and you can't get their claim expedited, and it's gonna be, you know, 6 months or whatever. And it's like, a lot of times they don't have 6 months, or they, you know what I mean? Like we're doing them a disservice by saying we have this benefit out there, but they make it so difficult that people don't utilize it. And they make it so cumbersome on the families that they're not having a good quality of life, or, you know, the families just don't want. They're like, I can't keep doing this to my mother. I can't keep doing this to my father.
And what does it pay for? So those home medical needs, Karen, like
Well,
nurses and stuff, or?
so they would receive a direct deposit for company, you know, for money. And the intent for that, they can spend it any way they want, but the intent is, you know, you have home care people coming in, or you have medication that you have to purchase. So that gives you funds then, so that way you can go do those things. So that's what we talked with him about, and then.
But wouldn't that person, just so I can understand it, because in case I get it, wouldn't that person in theory be eligible for that, you know, the VA? Or is this sort of in parallel with the VA? veteran medical services in a war, medical needs. So just from my understanding, are those sort of separate tracks or do they go together? Or?
Oh, so those are two separate things. So there's the VA healthcare, which means if you're eligible, enrolled and eligible and utilize the VA healthcare, that means that you can use VA hospitals. That means that you can go and have your primary care doctor, you can go and have all of that. This benefit that I'm talking about is VBA, which is the benefits portion. And so this, you would use, it's for like at home. It's not for a doctor's appointment. It's, it's compensation that you receive at home that you can use to, pay people to come in or pay for your medications or your doctor's appointments.
Okay.
Um,
Do some people have VA and aid and assistance? They don't cancel each other out?
no,
Okay.
So
That's very interesting. Thank you.
did Congressman Moulton offer any insight into some of these things, like why they're not expediting these benefits and?
he said that he would look into it.
Politicians.
Yeah.
It really seems that the VA is regressing. Because it used to be they used outside vendors and people that didn't know anything about veteran issues, and then it came in house. Things were getting better. Now it seems to be slipping back to that way again.
Yeah. And so, again, we were talking about like a lot of things that have come up with the PACT Act and actually, I was able to. And today, so another thing that I was gonna report is today, I've told you, I'm on the vision committee for the Merrimack Valley Collaborative. So we had our collaborative meeting today and we had Liana from the Bedford VA. She came and did a presentation on VA eligibility, enrollment and all that. And she also spoke briefly on the PACT Act. Because anytime you talk with anybody, they should always start talking about the PACT Act. So that way people start to learn about it. But in both of those cases, so sometimes benefits always apply for benefits because it might not seem like it's, benefiting you right now, but it could have an effect on your surviving spouses. One of the things is that they added hypertension to Agent Orange, right? I have a lot of people, I've been helping people with claims for that and everything, because once they heard that, a lot of them came in and they're like, I got service connected, but I'm not receiving any compensation. But if that person passes away and hypertension is on their death certificate, then their surviving spouse would be entitled to DIC. So that's another thing that I spend a lot of time with education because they come back and they're like, but we're, they're upset at the VA, not at me, but at least I can explain to them, what, the reason behind it and the reason, that at least, their surviving spouse, but they do have the service connection, which does not really. Anyway, I went to American Legion meeting in Ipswich and also in Georgetown. And I had a Zoom call with, they had a presentation, the Chelsea Soldiers Home. So I was on that. Chelsea Soldiers Home is gorgeous. I want to go there. It is so pretty.
You said on the.
Yes, it's everything. Yeah, and everything. Now they have all the bells and whistles, and so they were talking about, they have a meditation garden, and yeah. So, but they were talking about eligibility, and so they want to get more involved and do more outreach with ESOs and stuff. So we're gonna have a quarterly meeting with the Soldiers Home. So hopefully they're hoping that it's gonna be open, by June is what they would like, but we'll see.
In the 1850s, that was a hotel.
It is absolutely, it's gorgeous.
People used to
Like the
go up.
windows from floor to ceiling, like they have a terrace and it's they're gonna be single rooms and, yeah,
They've done a really nice job,
yeah.
but people used to go there for the air.
Yeah.
Out of Boston in the
Yeah.
1850s. It has a wonderful history to it. That building.
Oh, sorry, and, just the last thing, I'm glad that you guys all went around and, announced your Memorial Day activities in each of the towns. But there are other events that are coming up. One of them is the, VNOC, Veterans Northeast Outreach Center, is having an auto show. I sent out the flyer for that. That's gonna be on the 29th. I'm gonna be there doing outreach, there's a VSO table. Also, we are the North Shore Collaborative. So we're having an event, family event on Armed Forces Day, which is the May 20th. And that's gonna be, with IRWA, and we're going to have it's like a family day, it's a paddle, and so you can, take out the canoes, the kayaks, we're gonna have a band. We're gonna have food, barbecue, we're gonna have other vendors there and stuff for education. So that's really, and it's something that, we appreciate if people register for it. Because anytime you're dealing with food, it's always good to have an idea of how many people. But this is gonna be our second annual, so hopefully,
And when is that, Karen?
that's on May 20th. Yeah.
Very nice.
And then you mentioned the parade. We're also having a veterans luncheon on the 25th at the Newbury Speedway.
I guess I ought to be there.
Absolutely.
Well, that's, okay, that's
Yeah.
that's when we're having our annual town meeting, by the way.
Oh,
Is on April 25th, and I wanna, I'd like to do 3 plugs whenever you're,
Yep.
whenever
Nope,
you're
done.
finished. One is, Seth Bolton is gonna be tomorrow night. He's gonna be at the Beverly Council on Aging at 6 o'clock. So anything that she just talked about that you might wanna mention to him, he's gonna be at the Beverly Council on Aging tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. I forgot to mention, April 25th, Newbury Annual Town Meeting, Article 19 is my article. We're gonna be voting on the property tax exemption for the veterans. I just want to put a plug in for that. I'm hoping that the entire town of Newbury will vote yes to assist our veterans. It's a much needed action that needs to be done. And then the last plug is the Tough Rock, Boston Marathon's Tough Rock. Is anybody familiar with the Tough Rock?
Yeah.
My wife has done, this year, she did it for the second time, not in a row, but in her life. And she had a 19-pound pack on, 26.2 miles. She did it in 8 hours and 30 minutes. And it's really emotional.
Yeah.
It's a great event.
I've done it twice. And, absolutely, and, like.
The Gold Star families are,
Yeah.
it's
I think-
unbelievable.
So when you finish it, a Gold Star family, because you get the official, marathon medallion, and, it gets placed by a Gold Star family, so, yeah. Yeah, so. But that's awesome, she killed it.
Well, she didn't
It's
kill it.
not easy.
She didn't kill it, but she finished.
Yeah.
And there's not, it's not officially, you have to do it under 9 hours to get the medal, but somehow I've heard 9 hours in there somewhere. She's, both the times she's done it, she actually beat, she did it 4 years ago, and she beat her time from 4 years ago, and she's 4 years older, so kudos to her. You know,
That's great.
that's all I got.
That's all I got.
That's it. Okay. And you go director's report?
Yep.
Number 7, what I'd like to inquire. On the board, does anybody wish to to step up and do a different position than they have been? Either chair, vice chair, or secretary. Speak up all at once, but. Okay,
Well, you know, when you ask the military about. Well, who's not here today?
well, I bring this up because I've been doing this 5 years as chair,
I think so.
something like that, okay? And I don't want anybody to think that I'm, it's a position of power. This has nothing to do with it. I'm just doing it, to volunteer to do it. To run the meeting. If somebody else would like to step up in a position, chair, vice chair, let me know, okay? And,
Oh, I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Second that.
You keep everything in order.
I just don't want you to think that, I just feel that democracy is good. It's always nice to have somebody else come in and take over. Sometimes people feel that, you may be stepping on their toes, or you may be grabbing for too much power. I don't know, but anyways, I don't want anybody to think, if you're unhappy with the way things are going, vice chair, secretary, you can always step up, and that's it. That was that.
Are we going to vote those at our next meeting? Is that why you're bringing this up now? So that.
Well, think about it. You have a month to think about it.
Sure.
No, I'm
All of a
just,
sudden,
I'm
you
just
want to do it
asking
2
if
o'clock.
we
2 o'clock.
renew those positions.
We
next
can
month.
we'll put that on the agenda for next month, okay? And but it's someone maybe wake up 2 o'clock in the morning and say, I want to be chair. So.
Not to speed up what's going on.
Well, it could be like a Christmas carol. It goes to, and
The ghost of DSO's now.
yeah, it goes to Chairman Pass. So. If you get woken up at 2 o'clock, don't call me. You deal with it. So, all right. Now the next meeting, how about the 17th of May?
Ooh.
That's a Wednesday. Your elections will be over by then, and then we'll know about.
Ours is the day before that.
Hmm?
Ours is the day before that. Steve.
Elections.
Yeah, our election is the Tuesday, is the 11th. No, it's the 9th. Ours is the 9th.
What about the 24th of May? Not?
That's it, that's finally a no.
I think it's not as bad as no.
I was hoping with the,
I can do the 17th.
can you do the 17th? And
I won't grumble about it like.
I'm more of a growl.
I can do the 17th. I just, I don't know if I've been here before throughout the entire summer, but I don't know if we
we'll take,
do any like
We'll
summer
take a-
vacation.
we'll probably take a break.
But I,
Maybe some.
We usually meet quarterly, so it's May and then September.
Karen, thank you for being here tonight. I listen to you, but you added to the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Oh, they always.
No, you did. Seriously.
Always.
Yes, and thank you.
So-
for being- Oh,
The 24th is the front, so I can get.
Okay. Anything else on the, you think of, okay, Karen, I'll talk to you both during the week.
okay.
Put something together and we'll get that to Tim Zephlin, our lawyer. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, wait a minute.
I guess we don't have business or old business, but under old business, that letter that we reviewed last month, or with our last time, are we sending that to Tim also to
I
review?
thought we voted to send that out.
Have we, are we?
I thought we did. I thought did we?
I don't remember in this minutes, but maybe it was in the previous one.
I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, I thought it was. Google follow, okay. Next meeting, okay. So, do I have a second? All in favor? Aye, it's unanimous. Thank you, everyone.